Late last night, the House passed the latest coronavirus relief proposal, which is worth $3 trillion. It's a 1,815-page act. It's called the HEROES Act. It includes another round of payments of up to $1,200 per person and billions in aid for state and local governments battling COVID-19. One Republican voted for the bill. 14 Democrats voted against it. Despite House approval, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is opposed to the plan. President Trump says it is dead on arrival. With me now is New Jersey Congressman Frank Pallone. He's the chairman of the Energy and Commerce Committee. He's one of the bill's sponsors and drafted the health care portion. Congressman, good to see you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Good to see you, too.
Congressman, let me ask you about this. You got a number of Democrats working against this. You've got almost every Republican against it. You got Mitch McConnell against it. You got the president against it. What's the issue here? Should we think about this as an opening salvo for the next round that's coming from Democrats in Congress, so that either Mitch McConnell or, as in the last case, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin has something to negotiate against?
I think that's a fair analysis. In other words, Democrats, and certainly I feel, that we do have to do a lot more, particularly if we want to reopen the economy. As you pointed out, the economy is already starting to reopen, but it really shouldn't reopen unless we have things in place. For example, a national testing plan, contact tracing, ways to isolate people. And if you don't move forward and provide funding for states and also for people who have lost their jobs, then I don't think the economy comes back. So this is an effort to, point out what we think should be, and I assume there will be negotiations with McConnell and the president as we move forward.
What do you think is in common? In other words, if we fast forward a week or however long this takes, there are a number of American businesses that are failing as we speak and have definitely said they will fail in short order. There are hospitals that are in trouble. There are states who cannot run deficits or print money like the federal government can, that are going to have to start laying off police and garbage collectors and public health people. There are individuals for whom that $1,200 is gone. So what's the commonality? What does the next phase likely look like to you that conservatives and Republicans might sign on to?
Well, I think most of this is a continuation of what we've already done on a bipartisan basis. So, for example, in the last bill, we had $25 billion for testing and started a national testing, tracing, isolation program. So this builds on that and provides another $75 billion for that, which is what's necessary, and has more guidelines and benchmarks about how to do the testing and the tracing. The same is true for state and local governments. In other words, we don't want them to lay off workers, essential workers that are actually helping us deal with the virus. And we did provide $150 billion in an earlier bill. So now we think that we need more for that, because we know a lot of states, my own state of New Jersey, that will have to start furloughing people if they don't get some help from the federal government. So I really see it in many ways as an expansion and continuation of what we've already done, and that was done on a bipartisan basis. So I think we can come to an agreement.
The tax cuts added $1.9 trillion to the deficit over 10 years. That didn't seem to trouble a lot of your colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Now there are a bunch of people who are finding religion about deficits and saying this could start to feel like too much.
Well, I think they're wrong. Look, when we're in a situation like this where there's such high unemployment, higher than the Great Depression, interest rates are low. I mean, the fact of the matter is the federal government is the only level of government that can actually spend money and pay it back eventually. And if the economy doesn't grow, we're not going to be able to pay it back. So again, I don't think you should look at the total numbers. I think you should look at what you're actually going to accomplish. Look at this practically, not ideologically, and say, how do we get people back to work? How do we get the economy going again? And then we can pay back the deficit. Otherwise, the deficit is only going to get worse if the economy continues to go down.
Congressman, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. New Jersey Congressman Frank Pallone is the chairman of the House Energy and Commerce Committee.